What's going on today, Gotcha Gang? Kawaii50 here with another War of the Visions video, here to talk about the brand new MR, the Rampaging Warrior Dorando, a character I'm sure a ton of you really love to hate. We're going to be going over all of Dorando's abilities, Dorando's stats, and what are the best things to equip on Dorando, from skills to espers to vision cards, in order to get the most out of this character. Gotta say, I'm actually pretty excited to do this one because I did pull Dorando and I do not have a Viking yet. So having a Viking and be able to invest in is actually really exciting for me. Let's get into it. So everyone, as I went to take a peek at Dorando, looking at his skills, looking at his abilities, trying to figure out the best way to go about building this man, I found out he is a strange character. Like, deceptively, I thought he was going to be very straightforward to build, but his kit actually has a couple of surprises in it that made me go and assign some abilities that at first I'm sure a lot of people thought were completely and utterly useless based on his available jobs. Speaking of his available jobs, Dorando has Viking as his main job, with Monk and Gunner as well. Now, why would a giant axe wielder need a class like Gunner, you say? Well, just hang on. Just give me some time and we will get to it. But first off, let's start with Dorando's stats, and Dorando is not a very speedy man. He's got a pretty surprising 149 dexterity, that 185 attack and 1784 HP are both no joke and very thematic for a barbarian. He's got a pretty standard move 3 and a jump of 1 as well, so don't expect him to be jumping too high. And as far as these stats go, they're actually going to pair very well with some of his abilities. So let's start off with taking a look at these main Viking commands and seeing what we have to work with. Now, a couple of Dorando's very strong abilities are, of course, full-bodied blow. His main ability that everyone seems to be hyping up, it deals a huge amount of damage to the target in a very close area to Dorando. But there are actually some other surprising abilities in Dorando's kit as well. I am, of course, talking about Killing Axe. Killing Axe being an ability that deals damage to targets within range, and it's within 3 squares in front of Dorando, so he has the ability to hit multiple targets, and most importantly, this bestows Man-Eater on Dorando, allowing him to deal additional damage to humanoid foes, of which there are many. On top of that, we also have Drain Cyclone, which again deals damage to units in an area around Dorando, and also restores an amount of HP to him equal to the damage he has dealt. So he has a very solid way to keep himself alive within his core kit. Of course, he's got Rebellious Spirit as his main buff as well, raising his attack and defense for 3 turns and lowering his evasion rate. But evasion rate is not really something you want to worry about Dorando, because he's really got the HP that is going to allow him to weather any and all of those hits that come toward him. Now, the main thing that a lot of players really need to keep in mind when it comes to Dorando is, because of his subclasses, he has 3 different possible damage types to deal. Of course, he's got slashing from his main tree, that is the Viking. If you go and put him into Monk, he's going to be dealing striking damage with all those abilities. And if you set him into Gunner, well, that is going to be missile type damage. But we want to specialize our characters. We don't want to make them like a jack of all trades, master of none. And don't you worry, because I've got a plan to help you make Dorando really good and really focus on that slashing damage. So we're going to keep Dorando in the Viking class for this main reason, and that is so we can acquire a little ability known as Launch. And I'm actually going to straight up throw up an infographic for you regarding Launch's range and area, because I really think you need to see this. Just look at that range, 3 squares in front of him in either direction. Now, we know Dorando's movement speed is just okay. He's not going to be moving very far in any turns, but what does it matter how far you're able to move if this man is able to throw his great axe 3 squares in front of him? That is just absolutely absurd. On top of that, this ability is going to deal slashing damage, so we are actually going to end up covering for Dorando's greatest weakness by keeping him in the Viking class. Not only is he not going to have to worry about getting in range of some terribly powerful enemies, but he might even just throw his great axe and kill somebody who would be an absolutely massive threat to you before they're even able to get close to Dorando to deal any damage to his huge HP pool. I know, it's crazy, and we're gonna make this even better. So for Dorando's first passive skill, I'm going to absolutely have you give him Viking Lore. Viking Lore raises his max HP and his attack, both of his most important key stats, while lowering his acquired AP. Lowering this acquired AP is not really a big deal because Dorando is going to be hitting enemies like a train even with his own basic attacks, thanks to his high attack stat as well as what you're going to be investing in raising his slashing attack. So Viking Lore actually ends up being perfect for him, which makes sense. He's a Viking. And as for his second ability, we are going to make an actual surprising pick here, and we are going to be giving Dorando Concentrate. Why are we giving Dorando Concentrate, you may ask? Well, because it gives him range +2 and lowers his evasion rate. What are we going to be sinking that range +2 into? Why, launch, of course. Have you ever wanted to see a Viking cross-map snipe an opponent with a great axe? Because if you have, this is going to be the build for you. Dorando giving this man any type of range is just absolutely crazy. And for Dorando's reaction ability, we do not want to spread that damage, as I have previously said, so that actually completely eliminates counter shot as well as fist counter, leaving our only viable choice for his reaction to be Fighting Spirit. Fighting Spirit is going to give him a chance to recover HP when he takes damage, and it is also going to have a chance to inflict Berserk on Dorando for 3 turns. Berserk, of course, being a status effect that raises the target's attack, but they can only use the regular attack command. Oh no, you are telling me that this giant muscle barbarian with a great axe is only going to be able to use the basic attack command? I am so very upset by that. And what further cements that Berserk status as completely and utterly fine is, of course, Dorando's Master ability and his Trust Master reward. We'll go over the Master ability first, which grants him max HP plus 25% and a plus 15 to his crit rate. So, Dorando can only attack. Whatever. That attack happened to be a crit. This enemy is now dead. The spellcaster just had their head cut off by this Berserker madman. See? Berserk doesn't really matter if your character just has massive gains. And of course, a big barbarian needs a big axe, and that is the Trustmaster reward, the Great Axe of Slaughter. This is going to grant Dorando 68 HP, 12 accuracy, and more importantly, another 114 attack on top of his very beefy attack stat. Now, Dorando has a couple of options when it comes to vision cards, depending on whether you personally want to build him with more HP or with a focus towards more damage. Honestly, it's up to you depending on your playstyle. Either of these can work super well on him. So I'm going to start by making my first mention of Echoing Screams, a UR level vision card featuring Moraga. At max stats, you are going to be looking at attack debuff resistance plus 25 on just Dorando, so you're not going to be lowering his attack stat. But he is also going to get slash attack plus 35 added to your entire party. So if you wanted to pair him with a Thunder God Sid, that's totally and completely fine. He will end up buffing Sid's attack as well just by existing. Now you can of course also give Dorando one of the best vision cards in the entire game, Scion of House Beowulf, featuring Ramza, of course. This card gives not only a slashing attack plus 10 to Dorando specifically, but is also going to raise your entire party's agility by 15%. Agility is an incredibly important stat in both PvE and PvP, determining not only dodge, but hit rate as well. So if you want to just make your entire party better with one of the most important stats in the game, you can definitely chuck that on Dorando, and he is going to achieve a lot of effectiveness out of it when it comes to his own damage. You can also definitely give him Realm Reaver Odin. This grants Man-Eater plus 10 on top of the Man-Eater he's able to give himself with his own personal skill, allowing him to deal a lot of extra damage to humanoids. It also grants your entire party resistance to a single attack plus 20, so this vision card is also going to up their overall survivability as well. Now these are just a few examples I have to give you. Overall for Dorando, you're going to want to be focusing on anything that grants either HP up, general attack up, or most importantly in my opinion, slashing attack up, since all of his abilities are going to be slashing attack related and his basic attack's going to be slashing attack related. This is going to be what gets the most damage out of this man. And for our Esper, I'm of course going to recommend we continue along with this increase in slashing attack trend, and anything that ends up giving an attack bonus as well is going to be absolute gravy. So my first recommendation has absolutely got to be Behemoth. Behemoth is going to give you slashing attack as well as attack. It's also going to grant a little bit of evade if you want that in your kit. Generally a really strong Esper for your attack type characters. Iron Giant, of course, still remains one of the best slashing attack Espers in the entire game, granting slashing attack, attack res, and evade as well, and also grants slashing attack res on top of that. So you're facing other slashing attackers, boom, I got defense against those slashing attackers. Yes, I have said slashing attack way too much. You can also, of course, give Dorando Odin. Why wouldn't you want to give one of your favorite characters Odin, if he is your favorite character, that is? Slashing attack, attack, man-eater, and evade. All of these things that make Odin the best Esper for PvP. I did a whole video about Odin where I explained why he's good in less than 5 minutes. Go ahead and give that a watch if you want to know a little bit more about Odin. But he is just in general very good. Overall, Dorando is a character that really ended up surprising me. Here I thought we had this straightforward barbarian able to just get in there and deal a little bit of extra damage, but as I dug into these abilities, as I saw launch, as I realized that the potential for any of these barbarians is the fact that they have to get in close to attack and they can't hit their enemies from range, well, I got really excited. Trust me, if you focus on investing in launch, if you give Dorando that little bit of extra range, you're going to find he has the potential to cross-map snipe those mages before they're even able to get close to them, and this is something that might actually even have Dorando be a pretty good contender for PvP as well. This is all something to consider. It really is. But that's really all I've got for you today. If you have any other personal thoughts about Dorando, go ahead and let me know down in the comment section below. Let me know if you think there might be a different or better way to build him depending on what your personal tastes are. I really do want to know what you all think about this character as well. Of course, let us know if you pulled him too, if you were super excited to get him. I got him off of my free multi-summon we got for this banner, so that's part of what just made me really hyped to actually do a video about him. This is Kawaii50, hoping you have a phenomenal day, hoping I was able to help you out with this video, and I will see you all in the next one.